Last time, we talked about setting up your schedule in a way that automatically prioritizes the values that are most important to you. But what do we do when we start noticing outside forces trying to cross boundaries that we didn't even know we had? How do we pinpoint something that has always seemed invisible? And how do we know if the problem is us or our environment? I'm Dana Hicks, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, and I have 3 tips toward noticing and naming previously invisible boundaries. Step 1 is noticing when your buttons are pushed. Step 2 is track the situations that push your buttons. Write down the typical physical symptoms that you have when you're irritated with someone or something that seems to be a threat to your personal choice, your boundaries, and your autonomy. This might be a racing heart, butterflies in your stomach, clenched fist, clenched jaw, shoulders, anything else that you notice. Write it down. So set a time period, maybe a week or 2 or even a month, and notice every time you have those physical symptoms we talked about, stop and write down what happened before, during, and after those symptoms. And then also take the time to ask yourself what could have been the very root cause of all that. It's okay if you don't have that answer right now. Just considering is enough. And then at the end of that time period, go back and look at your notes. See if any patterns arise. Are there just one pattern? Or maybe there's 2? If there are more than one, do they have anything in common? Right? So an example would be maybe every time you notice your heart beats fast or your breathing gets heavy, it's associated with a deadline that you were not expecting, which is causing you to work more hours than you were planning on working. That's a good example of a theme you could write down. So write down all the themes that you notice. Step 3 is noting the consequences. So for each theme that you have written down, ask yourself, as a result of this specific pressure, I am experiencing what emotions? Because what else needs to shift in my life that I wasn't expecting to shift in order to meet this expectation? So for example, if your supervisor is sending you unexpected deadlines, it might make you feel self-doubt, worry, frustration, and anger. And it might put you in a position where you have to choose between family time that you are counting on as a resource for energy that you need to sustain you in your job versus succeeding at work. In conclusion, noting your symptoms and making sense of them can be quite an investment in energy and time. But the fruits of knowing exactly where that stress is coming from can be so validating, and it can fertilize the ground for insight and efficiency when you're working toward a solution. So stay tuned for my next video about how to move forward toward that solution with this knowledge. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe below with no strings attached.